Hey, I'm Kai. Today's just going to be a sort of loose, flowy video where we're going to check out some Fortin pedals. I've got 7 different pedals from Fortin here on loan from my friend Jason over at Fortin, so this video isn't sponsored, it's just going to be a sort of chill look at each of them. A quick overview of the pedals here. We've got 5 different sort of classic drive pedals, we've got 1 preamp distortion-y pedal, and we've got their noise gate. The Blade, the 33 and the Grind are all going to be based around the TC Electronic integrated preamp. The Hexdrive is going to be a classic tube screamery sort of thing, and the Fuzz I'm not too sure on, but I think this might be sort of rat influenced. We've also got the Natas pedal, Natas? The Natas pedal, which is going to be based on their Natas amp, and we've got the Fortin Zuul Plus, which is their flagship noise gate. For a brief rundown of the setup I'm running in this video, I've got my Balaguer Woodman tuned down to drop A sharp. I've got 4 different amps loaded up in my DAW, as well as a cab simulator plugin. The amps we've got are going to be the ML Sound Lab amped Triple Rev G, amped Oracle, amped Block Letter, and we've also got the Miko 2 plugin. I'm not going to be spending too long on each of these pedals and finding perfect sweet spots or anything like that. I'm just going to give a brief run through of each. I'm not even diving into the manuals or anything, so this is just going to be a sort of hot and ready, see what we come up with sort of thing. We'll start with the Fortin 33. This is a sort of boost EQ kind of pedal based on the TC Electronic integrated preamp. This is the signature pedal of the guitarist of Meshuggah, so it's designed for guitars way lower than drop A sharp, but this is what we're running with today and it can still work in some contexts. I'll start with it set up fairly aggressively and I'll run through each of the channels that we've got with the dry tone and then the 33 engaged. So first we're going to run through the amped Triple Rev G, classic sort of recto sound. Alright, now let's try out amped Block Letter. Now let's hear it through amped Oracle. Out of those amps, I think Oracle really favoured the best since it's tightening it up nicely, and you know, Oracle is a super fuzzy sounding amp. So let's play around with the controls and see what we get. So it's way too aggressive for what I'm doing here in drop A sharp, but Meshuggah are playing down in, you know, F sharp, E sort of territory, so I can really see it working there. I do have a drop E guitar on the rack that I'd love to run this through, but to try and keep this video short, I'm going to have to stick with one guitar throughout. On that note, let's switch over to the Hexdrive. The Hexdrive is going to be super familiar to pretty much anyone into metal guitar. This is your classic tube screamery kind of drive sound. Here I've got it set up like a classic tube screamery kind of thing. We've got the drive nice and low, the level nice and high, and the tone just past midway. Let's go right from the top and hear it through the amped Triple Rev G. Alright, now let's run through block letter. Let's now hear it through amped Oracle. So I think the natural pairing for this is going to be block letter, so let's play around with it some more in block letter and see what else it can do. The Hexdrive really is that classic tube screamery thing. Keep the drive low, the level high, and adjust the tone until it's nice and attacky and bright and just has all of that punch to it. I will say I'm enjoying the Hexdrive quite a lot. Now another pedal that's going to be pretty similar to the 33 is this Grind pedal. It does that same sort of boosting, amp tightening, high-end thing that the 33 does, but it's not quite as aggressive and harsh. This means that it should work a lot better in drop A sharp. Again, back up to the top with Triple Rev G. I am loving that. Let's try out block letter. I have to say this one's definitely sounding good. Let's try it out through Oracle now. So maybe it's not the one for Oracle, but we'll sweep through the knob and go back to Triple Rev G because I was really liking what that was doing. Okay, so it's maybe not got the full sweep that I'd want out of this knob. It's pretty much only useful to me, you know, way into that sort of 3 o'clock up to 5 o'clock territory. Right in that last sort of few percent of that knob sweep is really where it's at. But it might be good for sort of stacking with other pedals maybe, if you wanted to get that characteristic out of the EQ without boosting the amp too much. Again, not going to try that in this video, but that may be what the lower controls are really designed for. One thing I should mention that's cool about both the Grind and the 33 pedals is that they've got nifty little switches on the side that let you do amp control, which means that you can change channels on your amp and leave just the boost on the dirty channel, for instance. Really nice feature that lets you use the boost as a sort of always on thing and maybe even tuck it underneath your pedal board. Grind is definitely my favorite pedal so far. While it's only really got one usable position, that position does sound fantastic. We're now going to try out the Blade pedal. As far as I'm aware, this is also based on that same TC Electronic integrated preamp that the 33 and the Grind are based on. However, you've got a bit more control over the sort of the highs, the lows, and the level on this one. Right, Triple Rev G. Okay, let's try out Block Letter. Now for Amped Oracle. Oracle seems to be the one here, though it does still sound sort of flubby and loose to me, and it's not really tightening up in the way that the rest of these pedals have been. Let's play around through Oracle some more and see what happens. I messed that riff up. Okay, the Blade's maybe not my favourite, and you know, we are back to those Tube Screamery sort of settings again. Level up high, treble up high, bass as low as possible. So it works, but it's not my favourite of the ones I've tried. Now we're on to something a little weirder. This is the Fortin Fuzz. I'm running through the Amped Oracle's clean channel for this bit. That is not the clean channel. It seems like the fuzz only really works when it's close to maxed out, and the volume seems to be, you have to push it up quite high to get even to unity gain. I do like the girth control on a fuzz, and more fuzzes need this girth control. Now, my friend Jason at Fortin did recommend trying it out at a higher voltage. I found this to not make enough of a difference to care about, but we'll try it anyway and see what it does. Just for fun, let's also try this out through the higher gain rock reverb and see if that's what this is meant for. Okay, weirdly, I think I'm preferring that through the higher gain channel of the Oracle plugin. Still not my favourite fuzz that I've tried, but it's got its merits for sure. Onto something very special now. We've got the Natas, should have learned how to say it before I started the video, distortion pedal. Now, I really like this one. I'm not usually a fan of these pedal in a box amp style distortion pedals, but I am enjoying this one quite a bit. Let's dive through it, flick through some of the controls, see if we can get some sounds out of it that we like. is an interesting pedal. I think it's got such a wide sweep of every single control that you can get pretty much whatever you want out of it, but it may take some time and some very precise tweaking to get you there. The mid-shift switch in particular is extremely powerful. Let's also try out this kill button, which adds in an extra gain stage, really just thicken things up a bit. That's something I noticed. It does squeal a bit. I'm not sure if that's my power supply or just the way that I've got the pedal set, but we'll move past it. Wow, that was pretty fantastic actually. I'm enjoying that. The last pedal is the Zuul Plus. This is the pedal that most people associate with Fortin. It's by far their most popular pedal. This is sort of the gold standard for noise gates and the whole reason I actually spoke to Fortin in the first place. As you can see from the mess of cables everywhere, the noise gate is a little trickier to set up than, say, your standard 1-in 1-out noise gate. This is a 4-cable method noise gate, meaning that the gate is actually triggered by your guitar signal. This is absolutely fantastic if you want a tight sounding gate. This means that the noise gate will be active whenever my guitar isn't playing, and it will capture all of the noise of the pedal perfectly. The guitar goes into the key input of the gate, the key output goes into the input of the pedal, the output of the pedal goes to the input of the gate, and the output of the gate goes into my DI, same as we were running before. Let's see if we can get it nice and high gainy and see if we can get some of that noise coming back in, and then we'll cut that out using the gate. Okay. That gate is so tight, it's ridiculous. I've got the hold and the release down so that it works super fast and cuts off the noise. This is something that you want to do when you've got something like a squealing noise pedal, for example. If it was the more like classic amp kind of noise, you'd want to set the hold and release a little bit higher so that it's got a more smooth cutoff. However, with this noise, we want that cutoff to be instant. That is fun. It is definitely getting sweaty here. It's so hot here in the UK. I've got all these lights running. I'm going to have to wrap this up now. So before my conclusion, I just want to say, if you're enjoying what I do on this channel, please feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, comment. All that good stuff goes a really long way towards helping me out. I'm rapidly approaching 2,500 subscribers, and the support I've received has been nothing short of incredible. In conclusion, I'd say most of these pedals are pretty fantastic. A lot of them seem to be variations on that same sort of theme, that amp tightening boost thing. So the 33, very, very aggressive, but it can get quite harsh at times. The Grind, however, equally aggressive but less harsh, at least in drop A sharp. The Blade is maybe not quite as aggressive as the 33 in the Grind, but it still can tighten up something of a loose amp. Hexdrive is a wonderful take on a classic. It works great into that 5150 style of amp, but maybe it's not quite enough to tighten up a recto. The Fuzz is maybe not for me, but it could be right for some people. I also think I was close to getting it to sound right in this demo, but didn't quite get there. The Natas, still don't know the name. Actually really surprised me. I'm really happy with how this one's sounding. Finally, the Zuul Plus, absolute star of the show. This thing is fantastic, well deserving of the sort of gold standard of noise gates. I can understand why there's a massive cult following for these. Thank you for watching my little rundown of all of these different Fortin pedals. Thank you for Jason at Fortin for loaning me these quickly so that I can play around with them and see what fits my needs. If you'd like to check out any of my other videos, there'll be a link on screen for you to do so. That's all for this one. I've been Kai.